there was a particular politician that was going to do buggery for us. You know, I just need to get in. I'll do this, that, and the other. As soon as he got in, he wouldn't even return our phone calls.
So was that a party member?
Yeah.
So do you think that he was just doing it to get in, or do you think once he was in, he realised being in a party he couldn't do it?
They'll do anything to get into that position because they know once they're in that position, the lurks, the perks, and rubbing shoulders with the power players. You look at some of the federal politicians and their net worth now. One, I think, was a policeman. His net worth now is $300 million. That's not bad for a cop chopping over into the political sphere.
Yeah.
It's a dirty, dirty game. They've sold out all us Australians, and we're not represented anymore. You know, parties don't represent people; they represent their party and
big
their
corporations.
donors.
And
so we need independence in the mix. I was glad to hear that Sue has been moved on by the Liberals, and she's so glad to be away. She is a shining light for Tasmanians as an independent. And it just shows you that the party, Sue wanted to represent her constituents, which was she was elected to do, and they didn't want her to do she had to do what the party said. And
so is this documented that's
Yeah,
what
yeah,
happened?
Yep.
And has the party came out and said that's what happened, or?
Well, they just said they voted and they don't want her for the next election, so she's been excommunicated.
Yeah, right.
And to her own benefit, I believe, because as she said, it's toxic. You're looking over your shoulder all the time. And imagine playing on a football side where the whole side didn't like you and they wouldn't kick the ball to you. You think, well, what the hell am I doing out here, you know?
So do you think that brings into scope that parties don't actually have Australia people's best interest at heart?
No, they don't. Apart from the Greens. Like, the Greens have been nagging on for ages and ages, and they haven't contributed in any way to the doing over of the environment, the degrading of catchments and waterways. They've been the exact opposite. And it's really interesting now, a lot of people that are farmers, shooters, are coming up to me and going, I'm not a Greenie, but, you know, so the parties played this wedge game with politics. They bullied the smallest group, the pacifists. You know, they're not violent, they're not extremists, but they're sticking to their guns and they're putting their body on the line for something that they believe in. And they own those forests. You know, we all own those forests. The fact that we're subsidising it with the millions of dollars to be knocked down is just absolutely crazy.
So when they say sustainable forestry, how are they doing that, or are they just not? Is it just a word?
They're not. It's just more spin. It's all spin and rhetoric. The whole show, you know. And you talk to the people with the skin in the game, the foreman on the factory floor of 50 years, the long-term selective logger. They'll tell you straight what the problem is. And the problem is we're not represented anymore. We've been sold out, and we have to take democracy back. It's been hijacked. It has. It's been hijacked. I never used to vote. And then the only time I did, the next year they got rid of the Greens. They reduced the sitting numbers in Tassie here from 35 to 25 because the Greens were gaining ascendancy. That was Labor and Liberal conspiring together to hijack democracy. That's where the democracy was going. That's where and they steamrolled that and stopped it dead. And the end result now is we've got politicians in this state with too many portfolios. They can't do justice to any of them, just so they could retain their power. Now, where was the thought about us and the Tasmanians with all of that? There was none. It was about their survival. So
the survival of the party themselves?
The parties, yeah. The party is first and foremost.
So looking forward, how do we correct that course in the near future?
Well, a funny thing happened to me. A political scientist rang me after one election. I can't remember which one it was. And he said to me, do you realise how powerful you are? And I was feeling quite powerless. So I didn't get elected, you know, and you know, I thought everything was futile. But he explained the nature of the beast. Evenly matched Labor and Liberal. Get one independent in, and quite possibly you've got the balance of power. You get two independents in this state, and you would have the balance of power. Now, if you get two good independents, not people that want to stop everything, but able to put in amendments and make sure things are done properly and properly thought out with the community at the table, then we'll start to see some real prosperous outcomes for Tasmanians in general.
So do you think that the issue is the parties themselves or the politicians themselves, or a bit of both?
The big issue, all of these problems we're having are symptoms of a bigger problem, and that is lack of community input into the decision-making process. You need the community at the table. In the old days, the reason we had 30-odd sitting members in this state, there was 30 municipalities in the state. And in the old days, they met in the hall, they raised their issues, and then they elected someone from that mix to go forth and represent them. Now, if you look at Braddon, all the population is Devonport-Ulverston way, and that's where all our politicians come from. The poor old West Coast never get a voice. I believe we have to tweak this system. I believe the best way of representing each and every area is through your local municipality. You should elect your member from your municipality. That'll solve a few things. It'll get rid of this charlatan and built-up image sort of thing, which deceives people into voting for them. You go to any local municipality, they know who's for the community and who is genuine. So you would erode that party influence and get a bit of diversity at the table down in Hobart. I heard John Howard, I don't like the man, what he did. He sold us out, but he did say one interesting thing here last year or the year before, and that Ben Chifley's parliament was recognised as one of the best we've ever had in this country. I think Ben Chifley was a loco driver. I think there was a butcher in the mix and maybe a shoe repairer or something. You know, you don't have to be Einstein to be a good politician. What you need to be is resourceful and seek out those with the knowledge. Party's not interested in that. They don't want to know skin in the game because it's at odds with their money-making enterprises and the deals that are being done. So get the community at the table, get the diversity back into Parliament, and we'll go somewhere for a brighter future. You know?
So where you're sitting at the moment, you think that the parties themselves are pushing their own agendas instead of the agendas of their congregation kind of thing?
My word. Yeah, my word.
So how would we fix that? Like, would it be as simple as getting you into, say, the Labor Party? Do you reckon that would fix it? Or do you reckon the party itself is corrupt?
Parties are the problem. There's no mention of parties in the Constitution, you know. So
so you think everyone should be an independent?
You should have that freedom. You should have, and within a party, like the structure of the parties now, there's an upper echelon that makes all the decisions, and then all the stooges have to follow out, you know, obey orders. There's not much freedom there for you to represent your constituents if it's at odds with the party take, which is what happened to Sue. So, you know, we need freedom to represent and not be stifled or steamrolled by a party directive. It's really easy. Any politics representing this place, it's two things. Is it in the best interest of Tasmania? And is it in the best interest of Tasmanians?